Well, hey, Life Groups, it's great to be together with you today and kind of digesting and unpacking the passage that we looked into on Sunday. Obviously, it's a meaty passage. It's a chapter and a half, so I hope that you've had a chance to personally read it and just kind of digest it and reflect on it a little bit more. I tried to kind of take at least a high-level approach so that we could understand with a greater degree of clarity the big idea that I think God, through Luke, is trying to kind of make clear. And that is not just the boldness with which Peter and John healed that crippled man in the first episode, but where that boldness comes from. And I think he teaches us that in the three subsequent episodes or the three subsequent scenes, where first replying to the onlookers and then replying to the religious leaders and then sharing with the church and hearing their response, the attention in all of those reactions isn't just on what's happening real time in Jesus and in the Holy Spirit among them, even though it's that power that healed this crippled man. Rather, it's the understanding that everything they were experiencing today in Jesus and in the Holy Spirit was God's covenant guaranteed promises through dozens of prophets over hundreds of years and years ago. And that everything they were experiencing today, they understood as God's promises delivered. And when they understood that, their faith deepened and strengthened at a new level. Because it's one thing to understand and appreciate that something's amazing, but it takes on a whole new level of confidence and awesomeness if we appreciate that that thing that was amazing was actually promised and guaranteed hundreds of years ago in this case, or the day of, like Mark Messier guaranteeing that round 3, game 6 Stanley Cup playoff win against the New Jersey Devils. So as a life group, I would encourage you to just talk about the differences between those two perspectives, between simply being kind of inspired by the reality that we can trust in Jesus and rely on the Holy Spirit versus the deeper confidence that we can have when we see those things as God's promises delivered. And then as we understand the deeper, stronger faith of greater confidence and boldness that we're invited into, we can consider personally, maybe go around the room and talk about where we'd like to experience a greater degree of confidence and boldness in our lives. Or maybe more specifically, where we'd like to claim God's promises for our own these days. You know, maybe it's a future decision you've got to make, or maybe you're experiencing some financial difficulty. Maybe it's a medical challenge that you're walking through. Maybe it's a conflict that you need God to intervene in and help resolve. Or maybe it's just the guilt and shame of your own brokenness and sin that you're hoping would just be able to be wiped clean and kind of thrown away and remembered no more. All of which the scriptures speak to where God has promised things to you and me. We can claim those promises because of Jesus and because in Jesus and in the Holy Spirit, all of those Old Testament covenantal guaranteed promises have been delivered. And my hope is not just through this passage, but through your conversation as a life group, you would be able to experience a level of faith that brings a rootedness and a security and a confidence and even a boldness like you've never known before. So I wish you a great discussion. All the best digging into Acts 3 and 4 today.